is the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show with your hosts Maurice, Patton, and Wade Neely. Proudly presented each week by our friends at the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans, don't let fans drive drunk.
Welcome into the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show as we continue to get you ready for playoff football across the area. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We have cleared the first round of the state playoffs. We are heading into round number 2, which is round number 2 in Division 1. It's the quarterfinals in Division 2. And we've got both of those going on this weekend. But before we get to that, we want to get you up to date with what took place in the opening round, and we will do that here later on. But, you know, Wade, it was interesting. I went back, and something that I do, I update by hand my brackets. I print out the first week, and then I update them by hand because actually writing those scores in kind of releases something that I'll get story ideas and different things like that, or see trends, different stuff like that by actually writing the stuff down. And one interesting tidbit, 110 games in round 1. That's Division 1 and Division 2 combined. Nearly half, 53, involved a running clock. I don't know what that means, but it kind of feels like maybe, well, clearly there were some games that were pretty lopsided. Now, I don't know if that means that we have too many games, too many teams, or what, because on the other end of that, in Division 1, we had 47 games that involved 1-4. The number 4 seeds won 7 of those. So
quite a few.
Yeah, you know, exactly. I feel like that's a pretty solid number out of 47 games that involved a region champion and a number 4 seed. The number 4 seed beat a region champion in 7 of those. That's 15%, basically.
Yeah, there were some regions that were celebrating a little more than others. You know, some got completely washed out across the state of Tennessee. You see it every year, but hats off to those teams because, yeah, you go in to enemy territory and come away with a big win. Doesn't usually happen like that in week 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, so congratulations to everybody that won this past weekend, but especially to those teams that went on the road and those teams that went on the road as number 4 seeds and knocked off region champs. Yeah, it's quite the accomplishment to claim a scalp such as that. So yeah, but again, we will work through all of our local games coming out of the opening round and get you ready for the second week of the playoffs here when we come back on the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show, presented by 10 Pin Alley, Eat, Play, Party, and by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Stay tuned.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yes, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
Hello, I'm Rick Whitley.
And I'm Daniel Pollard from Jones and Lang Sporting Goods. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for the many years of support. Since 1966, Jones and Lang has been locally owned and operated and supplying teams from T-ball to college. Stop by and see what we can do for you. We offer a wide variety of services from silk screening and embroidery to our custom trophy and awards department.
We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to noon. Remember, Jones and Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
He shoots, and he scores! Welcome to JHA Company, your trusted scholastic partner. We continue to serve schools with yearbooks, letter jackets, and graduation regalia. But now we offer so much more. Our school photography division offers high-quality images that capture the spirit and energy of your students and staff. Let us help build your identity, creating a cohesive look that represents your school's values and traditions. Our e-commerce solutions make it easy for schools to manage and sell their branded apparel online. Let's work together to make every school year unforgettable. Visit our website or contact us today to learn more. JHA Company, celebrating achievements, building identities, and creating memories.
Welcome back to the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show presented by 10 Penn Alley and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. As we mentioned, week 1 of the high school state football playoffs began with a bang in Columbia, at least, as the host Columbia Academy Bulldogs opened up with a 49-8 win over the Kings Academy out of Seymour, Tennessee. Specifically, they opened up with a 36-0 first quarter.
Talk about setting the tone early, right? And, we'd mentioned that it'd be nice to see Columbia Academy just pick where they'd left up the last 2 weeks in terms of business-like performances. They set the tone early and never really had to look back, it sounds like.
Not at all. Our buddy, Bulldog senior running back Monte Baldwin had a early but effective night for CA. 5 carries, 108 yards, 3 touchdowns, all in the first 12 minutes. 11, 59, and 2 yards. He's quoted in the game story as saying, I never felt like I got tackled. And I'm not sure he did.
Yeah, it could have been one of them nights. Yeah, you talk about a clean jersey, right? We always usually think about the quarterback, but in his case, it could have been just hang the jersey right back up.
Yeah, we're good. You don't have to wash this. It'll be good for next week. Yeah. Also, Harrison Brownlee with a 44-yard pick six for the Bulldogs, his second non-offensive touchdown in as many weeks after a 6-yard scoop and score of a blocked punt in their regular season finale victory up at Grace Christian. So, the seniors kind of leading the way for CA right now, and that's kind of what Seth Anderson wants to see right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. The seniors stepping up and playing well. Overall team performance, it sounds like. Columbia Academy, yeah, I'm sure they got some things they want to work on and will work on heading into this week, but by and large, a great way to start your campaign in terms of your postseason run.
Columbia Central got a lot of people's attention with their first half of football up at undefeated Page, 3-time reigning Class 5A state runner-up Page. Page had scored nearly 40 points a game coming into the playoffs. At halftime, it's Page 5, Columbia Central nothing. And if Central could have done anything offensively, it's even tighter than that, obviously. Unfortunately, they couldn't in the first half. They couldn't in the second half. A safety was all they got in the second half in a 19-2 loss at Page. But the Patriots know that they were there.
Yeah, I mean, this has got to be, on one hand, very frustrating, but on the other hand, you could, in a weird way, take away some positives, to your point, if you're Columbia Central. And, they come in, no one predicting really or giving them much of a shot in this game. And 5-0 at halftime. I mean, like you said, one play. I mean, you're talking about a random fluke fumble, a random fluke interception for a touchdown, and you're leading the game hypothetically at that
exactly.
point.
If you can catch any kind of break, that's exactly what it was. And Columbia just could not get over the hump, unfortunately. But like you said, Central coach Tredarius Goff, pleased with the way his guys came in and literally stood toe-to-toe with a Page team that most people kind of expect to certainly go back to Chattanooga and possibly win the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't hang your head too much in terms of this because Page is dominant, especially on the defensive side of the ball. On the other side, if you Page, you're wondering, a little bit, hey, maybe we got some things we got to work on offensively. And we've seen them, even during this run, they've had a few little scares. Remember in the Nolansville game a couple of years ago in the second round that they survived by 5 points. They've had some kind of bumps in the road. So I guess if you're Page, maybe you're thinking, okay, at least maybe we got that out of our system in week 1, hypothetically.
We're thinking we got this out of our system, and you're also thinking if you can win and find some things to work on,
Simultaneous,
that's not a bad place to be. Independence, speaking of scares, Independence goes across the county line to Stewart's Creek and throws a scare into the Redhawks of Stewart's Creek, leading 14-0 at half.
And, that's a game that, I had picked Stewart's Creek to win that game last week, but I had something deep down telling me that Independence might make this a close game. And when we were on our broadcast at halftime, we're going through the scores, and I said, oh, folks, this is a closer game than I think a lot of folks would have anticipated. Talk about a team that played well down the stretch. Independence coming in with that murderer's row of a schedule to start the year, like we've talked about all season long, and they nearly pulled off a massive shocker.
They nearly did pull off a massive shocker. Instead, the Eagles go home with a 3-8 record. Stewart's Creek extends its win streak to 9 games with a 20-14 victory at home. Big comeback win for Stewart's Creek. Tough loss for Independence. We'll be talking more about the Eagles later in the show. Richland with a 37-0 win over West Carroll.
Man, talk about a big win for the Richland Raiders. After somewhat backdooring into the region championship, they do kind of take care of business in week 11.
They avoided an ugly tiebreaker in Region 5 1A with that win over Moore County in the final week.
They very narrowly found themselves in a weird spot. But on the other hand, they avenged a lot of demons. It was their first playoff win since 2005. The famous on one hand, I feel a little sad because I got some good buddies that played on that 2005 team, and they had the famous win on the road at East Robertson. I mean, it still lives in Linville, but no longer. That streak is officially over. Richland has its first playoff win in 20 years, roughly, and what a win it was. Taking care of business versus West Carroll, who had a up-and-down season, but they had a really ferocious running back that was eligible to play after missing injury the second half of the year. Didn't matter. Richland took care of business, got on them early. Speaking of safeties, got a safety early, leading 2-0, and then from there, cruise to the win. What a win for the Richland Raiders to kind of exercise a lot of the demons from the end of the regular season and the playoffs of years past.
Absolutely. We talked about region sweeps. Region 6-2A pulled one off as Huntington defeated Loretto 63-28 as one of the 4 teams out of that region to win.
Crazy game. This was one we were keeping close eyes on our broadcast Friday as the teams go back and forth. It's 7-0, it's 7-7, it's 14-7, it's 21-21, it's 28-28. And then I don't know what happened. All the music just came to a screeching halt for Loretto because tied at 28, Huntington goes on a roll, and it's the home Mustangs, the Mustangs of over in West Tennessee in Region 6 that cruise to that victory. Up and down season for Loretto. Very entertaining. A very entertaining team all season long, even to the final hurrah there. But they do fall on the road to a really good Huntington team.
The number 3 team out of Region 5 2A was Loretto. The number 2 team was Summertown. They were playing at home against the Cougars of Jackson Central Mary. This is another entertaining matchup, but it ultimately went the way of the visitors, 34-28.
Yeah, tough break for Summertown. What a great story and what a great ride it was. We loved kind of keeping tabs on them all season long, and injuries bite them at the worst possible time as McCrory and Stoll both go down. But Summertown is able to rally itself, throwing a 50-yard flea flicker right before halftime to take the lead at the break. But the injuries and the depth kind of just proved too much to overcome in the second half. They did give one last gasp effort, but JCM was just too strong. And it's unfortunate because, man, they had a good season, and you would like to have at least given the fans one home playoff victory, but it was not to be.
Yeah, East Hickman also lost to Decatur County, Riverside, and Lewis County lost to Milan. So Region 5 2A for the second year in a row gets wiped out in the first round of the 2A state playoffs. In Class 3A play, Giles County opens at the Brickyard with a convincing 42-7 win over Tyner.
Yeah, crazy game. Did not see this coming. Tyner was 6-4, absolutely flying high. They had won 5 of their last 6 ball games, including defeating region champ Meigs County in the final game of the regular season. And I don't know what team that was that showed up in week 11, but it was not the same team that showed up Friday. Had a lot of penalty yards that went against them early, and they could not stop the run as Giles County ran for over 280 yards on the ground. Caleb Oates had roughly 175, 180 yards total. GCHS simplified their offense and did not really deviate from it. They just handed the ball to Oates. Randolph only threw a couple passes. 2 of them went for touchdowns, but they dominated from start to finish in a good win versus what on paper looked like a really good Tyner team.
That was week 1. When we come back here on the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show, we will get you ready for the second round. Stay tuned after this.
Hello, I'm Rick Whitley.
And I'm Daniel Pollard from Jones and Lang Sporting Goods. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for the many years of support. Since 1966, Jones and Lang has been locally owned and operated and supplying teams from T-ball to college. Stop by and see what we can do for you. We offer a wide variety of services from silk screening and embroidery to our custom trophy and awards department.
We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to noon. Remember, Jones and Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Welcome to JHA Company, your trusted scholastic partner. We continue to serve schools with yearbooks, letter jackets, and graduation regalia. But now we offer so much more. Our school photography division offers high-quality images that capture the spirit and energy of your students and staff. Let us help build your identity, creating a cohesive look that represents your school's values and traditions. Our e-commerce solutions make it easy for schools to manage and sell their branded apparel online. Let's work together to make every school year unforgettable. Visit our website or contact us today to learn more. JHA Company, celebrating achievements, building identities, and creating memories.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yes, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
He shoots and he scores!
Welcome back to the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show presented by 10 Pin Alley Eat, Play, Party and by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. Before we take a look at the second round of the state playoffs as it relates to our local teams, let's take a look at our stat leaders coming out of the first round of the playoffs for those teams that were playing. Let's start with our rushing leaders. As we mentioned, Monte Baldwin with 108 yards on 5 carries. What is that? That's 21.6 yards per carry.
Scooting.
You'll
like
take
you
that.
said, barely touched in that one.
Yeah, barely, if at all. Continues to lead the area in rushing, but another fine performance from Caleb Oates at Giles County has him closing in on 1,400 yards heading into this week's matchup as well. A bunch of folks, unfortunately, have seen their seasons come to an end. Nicholas McDowell, Carter Pettigrew, and Justice Haggard of Columbia Central with that loss at Page. So those are our top 5 rushers. You can see the rest of them right there as well. Passing leaders. Blaine Woodard should go over the 1,800-yard mark in his next game, sitting at 1,797, 17 touchdowns for the Raiders as they move forward in Class 1A state playoff action. Also, Stephen Neves of Columbia Academy with a 6 of 7, 92-yard performance before he got out Friday night against TKA. I think he will play a little bit longer this week. Mason Tidwell, upwards of 1,600 yards. He's done for the year, unfortunately. The sophomore Xavier Randolph continuing to impress.
Yeah, similar to Neves. He was 4 of 5 passing for like 48 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns. They didn't need him to throw the ball much, but when he did, he was efficient with the ball. And it was a good night for GCH. It was by design, I guess, to Neves' point as well, that those 2 guys didn't throw the ball a ton.
Not a whole lot. Didn't really have to, like you said. As we've mentioned on the show before, to see 5 1,000-yard passers in this area kind of speaks to where the game has gone of late. You've got 5 there. You can see the rest of our leaders there as well. Receiving leaders, Jake Sands closing in on 900 yards. That's a career at Richland.
Yeah, he has been phenomenal this season, and he's been the top target. Richland does like to sprinkle the ball around to different pass catchers, but, man, he's been great when his number has been called. Had a couple of touchdowns in that win last Friday.
Corbin Reynolds of Loretto finishes up 2 yards short of 800 yards with 12 touchdowns.
Man, finding the end zone, big red zone target.
No doubt, literally. And we mentioned Harrison Brownlee, 784 yards, 10 touchdowns for the Bulldogs thus far. He will look to add to that this weekend. We'll talk more about that. What is the status of Kareem Bryant? Do we know? Do you know?
Game to game, baby. He was in a boot Friday, and I would not be shocked if he plays this Friday. I would not be shocked if he's in a boot this Friday. But they could sure use him up at Meigs County. He gives an extra element to their offense that they clearly don't have when he's not there.
Without question. And as we talked last week, Jackson Westbeld coming up a yard short of the 500-yard mark for Spring Hill at 8 touchdowns. So there are the rest of our receiving leaders. And also, this is the time of year where coaching changes, I don't want to say rear their ugly head, but in at least one case, the separation was unfortunate, as Independence's Scott Stidham received word yesterday that he would be relieved of his coaching duties after the Eagles went 3-8 this past year, finishing up 3-8 with that 20-14 loss over at Stewart's Creek. You know, we've talked all year about that brutal schedule that they played this year. 0-6 to start. Again, 3-8 on the year. All 8 of the teams that Independence lost to not only made the playoffs, but are still in the playoffs. And, Oakland and Ravenwood are 2 of them. You're going to see those guys around for a while. Page and Beach are 2 of them.
Yep.
You're going to see them around for a while in 5A. I mean, it was literally a murderer's row. And unfortunately, it kind of cost Coach Stidham his job.
Yeah, and, especially tough considering, that, you always wonder too, what happens if a game or 2 had gone here or there, or if, maybe you had pulled off a massive win last Friday. But, when you talked to Coach Stidham in your article, I mean, he said, hey, I knew the schedule 2 years ago when I made it. You see where you're going in terms of building your program, but it just sounds like he ran out of time in terms of patience with the administration in completing that build.
At Lawrence County, David Marston has stepped down. Heck of a career down there. Lengthy career down there. And finally, feeling like it's time to pass the baton.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there so long. I was in high school when he was still coaching at Lawrence County. I mean, that tells you how long it has been. Heck of a run. His teams always played hard, always played physical. And he got snake bits, I think, in terms of the region that he got assigned to, or Lawrence County got assigned to the last decade, really.
Yeah,
it feels
really,
like.
because when they were in 4A, they were in with Marshall County, Pearl County, and that bunch. And then they come up to 5A, and they're in with Lincoln County, Columbia Central, and that bunch.
Shelbyville. I mean, yeah. Tullahoma. I mean, it's like, think about the teams that he's had to battle against. And amidst all that, with a huge talent gap, there was a stretch where Lawrence County had some real lean years. Still got his team to play hard. And so just send off for him. They closed the year on a bit of a high note, winning the last couple games. So kudos to him on a great stretch. It will be very interesting to see the direction they go. Kind of, some whispers about, who maybe should or shouldn't get that job. But then the main takeaway is that it's going to look very unusual without seeing Marston on the sideline.
It is. I mean, 14 years as an assistant, 21 years as a head coach. It's going to look very different. It's going to be a shock to the system when you go down there to cover a game and David Marston is not on the sideline. So happy trails to him, though, man, and wish him the best in whatever comes after this. So looking forward to seeing what that is. Let's get into the second week of the playoff schedule. Let's start right here in Muletown as Columbia Academy gets set for a visit from Trinity Christian out of Jackson. The Lions coming in at 7-4 following their win this past weekend. Pretty big win, actually. Defeated First Assembly Christian School, FACS, out of Memphis, 35-6. They've got a Mr. Football semifinalist, Braden Waller, who returned a kickoff for a score and had a pick six in that victory.
Light work, right?
Yeah. They've got a 6'2", 225 running back that CA is going to have to deal with, Leaky Tompkins, who has a Virginia Tech offer, among others, as a junior. So Trinity Christian comes in well-armed this weekend. Again, CA having won their last three games now, including last week's 49-8 win over the Kings Academy. So should be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. It's going to be a fun one because Columbia Academy, getting to host is obviously a key perhaps in this game. But as the season, especially with the Division II season being, a week further ahead, as it were, every game you have to ratchet that intensity meter up just a notch. And Columbia Academy's had a couple of easy jaunts these last 3 weeks. So with that being said, can they find that intensity? Because it will be an electric environment, I think, come Friday night. And I hope the play on the field matches what the intensity in the stands will be. I think it'll be fun.
In Class 1A, McEwen comes to Richland, matching 8-3 records for both the Warriors and the Raiders here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this game as well because Richland flying high off of that region championship for the first time since the 80s, flying high off that first playoff win since 2005. But Huntland had been playing really good football, and McEwen kind of humbled them. McEwen's won 6 straight games now, as including a win versus West Carroll. So they have been battle-tested. They've seen some good teams. They took care of Huntland in convincing fashion. On the other side, though, the good news is Richland seems to have found its offensive legs again after a really disappointing effort versus Eagleville at home. They bounced back versus Moore County, as we mentioned, in the final game of the regular season, and then took care of business in very convincing fashion versus West Carroll. But I think this will be another tough test. Let's see if the Raiders are up for it.
In Class 3A, Giles County has to hit the road. The 6-5 Bobcats head east, taking on an 8-3 Meigs County team.
This is going to be another fun game. All three of our matchups are going to be exciting this week. This is a rematch of the quarterfinals from last year, and Meigs had maybe its best team in a long time in terms of seniors, experience, expectations, I guess, if you will. And then somehow, some way, they've kind of got their way to an 8-3 record this year. So I think in some regards, they feel like they're playing with house money. But in some regards, it also feels like they're primed up for another deep run. So this will be a very tough road test for Giles County. You mentioned it on the show last week. Playing at home, GCHS does not usually lay too many eggs, and they did not lay one by any stretch last Friday. I think it'll be a different test going to the Eastern time zone. They struggled mightily on the road at Sequatchie County in Week 11. Can they answer the bell in the second round of the playoffs?
There we go. Those are the games. When we come back here on the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show, we'll tell you who we think is going to win them. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Rick Whitley.
And I'm Daniel Pollard from Jones and Lang Sporting Goods. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for the many years of support. Since 1966, Jones and Lang has been locally owned and operated and supplying teams from T-ball to college. Stop by and see what we can do for you. We offer a wide variety of services from silk screening and embroidery to our custom trophy and awards department.
We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to noon. Remember, Jones and Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Welcome to JHA Company, your trusted scholastic partner. We continue to serve schools with yearbooks, letter jackets, and graduation regalia. But now we offer so much more. Our school photography division offers high-quality images that capture the spirit and energy of your students and staff. Let us help build your identity, creating a cohesive look that represents your school's values and traditions. Our e-commerce solutions make it easy for schools to manage and sell their branded apparel online. Let's work together to make every school year unforgettable. Visit our website or contact us today to learn more. JHA Company, celebrating achievements, building identities, and creating memories.
Do you want to be a bad man? Yes, you do. Do you want to taste sweet salvation underneath the summer moon? Do you need another hand now? Yes, you do. Go see Miss Josie down on Columbus Avenue. All right, Columbus Avenue.
He shoots, and he scores!
Welcome back for the final segment of the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show, presented by 10 Pin Alley, Eat, Play, Party, and by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We've told you who our local games involve for week 2 of the state playoffs. Let's take a shot at predicting 2 or 3 of them. We'll start in Division 2A, the state quarterfinals, as Wade mentioned. We're down to the final 8 teams in the state in D2A, and one of the 2 of those 8 are Trinity Christian and Columbia Academy. The Lions coming to CA for this one.
It's going to be a tougher test, certainly, for Columbia Academy than they've received, I think, in the last 3 weeks. I think they're going to be able to answer the bell. You know, an interesting point will be, is there any extra – you talked about a Mr. Football semifinalist being on the sideline. You wonder if there's going to be any extra motivation for the guy that was not nominated. I think Columbia Academy has a little bit of a chip on its shoulder. And at least
I think they've got a chip on their shoulder anyway, because they made it to the state semifinals last year, lost to the eventual state champion. They had lost to Middle Tennessee Christian to open the year. They lost to MTCS to close the year. Both of them one possession games. So I think this team has been on a mission all year anyway. But when you add in that Braden Waller, Mr. Football semifinalist, Monte Baldwin, not. It's a nice little angle there, Mr. Neely.
Well, I was getting ready to say, I think that is going to probably be enough, at least for this round, to guide them safely to victory. Give me Columbia Academy in this one.
I agree 100% for all of those reasons. Because like I said, they've been playing with a chip on their shoulder anyway.
Yeah, the only thing that worries me is that the road has been relatively easy the last 3 weeks. Dominated Mount Juliet Christian, went on the road and roughed up Grace Christian Franklin, and then you got not much of an effort from the Kings Academy. First quarter, that game was done and dusted. Have they got it in them to rally if this turns into a 4-quarter game? I still think they do, but that's the only reason I would be a little concerned. But I'm taking Columbia Academy to win this game.
Tell me what you think about McEwen and Richland.
This is going to be the game of the week in my mind because McEwen is certainly battle tested. I just mentioned a moment ago, they have gone on a massive run to close the season, winning 6 straight games, starting with a win versus West Carroll, knocking off Waverly, Perry County, Hollow Rock, Brewston, Houston County. That gets them all the way into the playoffs. And then the fact that they kind of dismantled Huntland, who had been playing some really good football, they had a 5-game win streak as well heading into that game. That gives me a little cause for concern. But having said all that, I think Richland has refound its identity. It's gathered its mojo a little bit, as it were. And I think Richland is able to pull off this win at home. Same deal with Columbia Academy, though. Can Richland, if it finds itself in a slobber knocker, in a 4-quarter game, can they muster up a win? I think they learned enough in that 2-game losing skid about themselves to be able to do so. So whether this is a halftime game that Richland's comfortably ahead, or if it turns into a real Donnybrook in the 4th quarter, I think Richland has got the goods to win this game. I like them.
Here's the thing. If it turns into a Donnybrook, I think I like Richland's ability to score from virtually anywhere on the field.
That's massive, right?
And with that being the case, I like the Raiders in this one as well. This next game is perplexing because Giles County has struggled at times this year, and this is a really good Megs team, and Giles County is going on the road for this. And like you said, at home, they don't lose many. On the road against a really good Megs team, you know, in a really tough environment with some young guys, how do they respond?
Well, that's the key, right? And the interesting thing about all this is Giles County, no disrespect to Watertown, Grundy County, and Community. The only real competition in 3A they have played all season long. Their schedule is so bizarre. They play the best of 2A, they play the best of 1A, they play the best of 5A. They've not played many 3A teams all year of any caliber, and they're 1-1 in those games now. They went on the road and laid an egg at Sequatchie County, and then they dominated at home versus Tyner Academy. That will be the key question as this game unfolds on the road at Meigs County. They dominated last year, but it was a closer game than the final score would indicate versus a veteran Meigs team. They ended up winning it 35-14, but that was a much different Giles County group as well. This could be a sneaky good game, and it could be your game of the week.
And when you talk about Giles County and the schedule they've played this year, because they play so few region games, they have kind of played up and down in terms of the competition. You know, they played 1A McKenzie. That didn't go particularly well. No disrespect to Giles County in that.
Good news is it hasn't gone well for anybody.
Exactly.
Season, regardless of classification.
Exactly. But, you know, it didn't go well for them against Page, which, again, same. They also lost to Hardin County, a 4A program under a new coach, and they've struggled this year. 22-0 loss at Lincoln County, another 5A team that advanced to the playoffs. So, you know, they've lost some games that you may not necessarily have been surprised that they lost. Like you said, this is a rare, really, matchup against similar level of competition. And so getting a read on them in this type ball game is a little tough.
Yeah. if they show up and play like they did last week versus Tyner, I could see them winning this game. If they show up and get manhandled up front, I asked Coach David O'Connor after the game, I said, hey, you guys manhandled them a week after you got manhandled on the road. I said, what'd you say or what was different? He said, if I knew that, I'd be a millionaire. He said, I have no idea. We just came out and set the tone. And so the play up front could be promising for Giles County. They've had some injuries along the line, but those guys seem to have found their rhythm a little bit. And if they can find their rhythm on the road, I like their chances because GCHS does stuff the run well. And it sounds like Meggs likes to run. At the end of the day, David O'Connor's 31-13 all time in the playoffs at Giles County. That will be another interesting angle to this game.
You know, looking at this Meigs County schedule, again, they were 8-3. They defeated a Grundy County team to open the playoffs this past week that Giles County defeated, 49-8. So I don't know what you can take from that, if anything. Them going on the road really gives me cause for pause, but I've just seen too many Giles County teams in the postseason. I think O'Connor comes up with something to get them another game. I like the Bobcats here, but I can see it not going that way.
Yeah, that is going to be the key. If Giles County shows up and played like they did last week, I think they probably win a close game. If they show up and play like they played 2 weeks ago at Sequatchie County, they probably lose in convincing fashion. House money and history would lead you to believe that former situation, that they probably get back to good. It'll be a fun one to call. Over in East Tennessee, real quick scheduling note, it will be in Eastern time. So for the
6 o'clock
for the PCL listeners out there, don't freak out, but tune in an hour early. You can listen to our game and then still have plenty of time to catch the end of the Raider broadcast on Pulaski Citizen Live.
There you go. We'll see how Wade and I can do on our predictions on improving those. Last week, I went 6-1 to get to 77-24 on the season. Wade went 5-1 because he didn't pick the Giles County result. He's 72-20 on the year now. Again, we will see how we improve on those, or if we improve on those. Come back next week to see here on the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show, presented by 10 Pin Alley, Eat, Play, Party, and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Thanks for joining us. Again, we'll see y'all next week.
This is the Southern Middle Tennessee High School Football Show with your hosts, Maurice Patton and Wade Neely. Proudly presented each week by our friends at the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Hello, I'm Rick Whitley.
And I'm Daniel Pollard from Jones and Lang Sporting Goods. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for the many years of support. Since 1966, Jones and Lang has been locally owned and operated and supplying teams from T-ball to college. Stop by and see what we can do for you. We offer a wide variety of services from silk screening and embroidery to our custom trophy and awards department.
We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to noon. Remember, Jones and Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Welcome to JHA Company, your trusted scholastic partner. We continue to serve schools with yearbooks, letter jackets, and graduation regalia. But now we offer so much more. Our school photography division offers high-quality images that capture the spirit and energy of your students and staff. Let us help build your identity, creating a cohesive look that represents your school's values and traditions. Our e-commerce solutions make it easy for schools to manage and sell their branded apparel online. Let's work together to make every school year unforgettable. Visit our website or contact us today to learn more. JHA Company, celebrating achievements, building identities, and creating memories.